Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here with your ready-to-order tech on the go. Can't believe it's Thursday already. This week is just flying by, so we better get to it. It is July 18th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. This is the golden age of streaming, but don't tell that to Netflix, who, started the golden age of streaming. Netflix is not having a good year. This past quarter, Netflix added 2.7 million subscribers, which is great, but they expected to add 5 million subscribers, which makes that number, not so great. Additionally, for the first time since Netflix split off its DVD shipping business, Netflix lost 130,000 subscribers in the US this past quarter, and that is a one-way ticket to Ouchtown. Side note, can you believe that 2.7 million Americans still use Netflix for DVDs? How is that not the real story here? Anyway, CEO Reed Hastings blames price hikes, not competition, as the primary factor. In a letter to investors, he wrote that there was no real change in competition in Q2, but of all the areas where Netflix lost subscribers, there was a slight increase in the areas that saw price hikes. And I mean, I've often said that I'm not a financial guy, so maybe I'm not qualified to comment here, but there are a lot of streaming services coming, and some of them were announced recently. I suspect that competition plus price hikes had a cumulative effect here. People are hitting their breaking point. Netflix costs how much now? And Disney is gonna cost how much? Plus I can't watch Friends anymore? Yeah, that's it. I'm out. Anyway, Netflix expected to grow in the US, so this loss is kind of a problem. Add to that, Netflix is burning cash at an incredible rate to the tune of $3.5 billion with a B dollars in 2019. Meanwhile, as The Verge points out, other competitors can start up their own streaming services and use Netflix's model to do it. Netflix's early success was built on a great catalog of already existing content, later supplemented by originals. And that's exactly what Netflix's competitors are doing, only their supplemented by originals part comes as part of its natural process, so they kind of have a leg up here. But it's not all bad for Netflix. Global subscriptions is the basket where Netflix is putting most of its eggs, and it is growing there. It's also launching a cheaper mobile-only plan in India, which could be a great way to get a foot in the door. Add to that, Netflix already has 151 million global subscribers, while its competitors, Disney, Hulu, and the like, don't have nearly those numbers. So if this is a global game, Netflix is still way out ahead. Plus, Hastings wrote that the prospect of #streaming wars is actually a good thing for Netflix. Something catchy like a streaming war latches onto the public's mind and brings concepts like cord cutting and, I love this term, non-linear TV into the collective mindshare. And guess who's the first company people talk about when they talk about streaming? Finally, top-tier talent is starting to recognize the power in streaming original content. Just ask Apple, who trotted out star after star on stage to talk about original projects that they were working on. On Netflix's side, ask yourself, when was the last time you saw Adam Sandler in anything new that didn't have a Netflix logo on it? Of course, whether or not Adam Sandler counts as top-tier talent is another debate, but I think he's delightful. Personally, I'm not a fan of where this is going. This content distribution is going all over the place, and paying a few bucks here and a few bucks there to access the varied content is getting a little ridiculous. It's getting just as expensive as cable packages, which was the reason I cut the cord to begin with. We're reaching a critical point where there are too many choices for content, so I would imagine linear TV might start to see a lot of people coming back. I can't decide between CBS, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney, and HBO, so please, Mr. Cable Company, just tell me what to watch. And that's the scariest part of all this. So, now that we're all quaking in our boots, let's head into the roundup! Project Dragonfly was Google's controversial censored search engine it was developing for China. Well, according to Google's Vice President of Public Policy, the project has been terminated. When Google was asked for confirmation on this, Google's spokesperson used softer language, saying, quote, "As we've said for many months, we have no plans to launch search in China, and there is no work being undertaken on such a project. Team members have moved to new projects." I mean, that sounds like terminated to me, but it kind of also sounds like not terminated. Last week, Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch Lite, a mobile-focused version of its gaming platform. Today, Nintendo very quietly released an updated version of the normal Switch. It has all the same specs as the original Switch with one noticeable difference: battery life. The new Switch boasts around 4.5 to 9 hours of battery life, up from 2.5 to 6.5 hours. Specifically, Nintendo estimates about 5.5 hours of playtime for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, up from about 3 hours on the OG Switch, and that's a pretty big step up. Of course, exactly when Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild became the yardstick in this equation, I can't be sure. Do you hear that slapping sound in the background? That's the sound of me repeatedly slapping myself in the forehead for missing out on what may possibly have been the deal of a lifetime. Amazon mistakenly sold a truckload of camera gear, some costing as much as $13,000 for $94.98 during Prime Day. And now, it's actually shipping it. Users on the site slickdeals.net first reported pricing and are now posting their delight, or their disappointment in missing out on the deal in the first place. Some camera gear that's shipping include a Canon EF 800mm telephoto lens, normally $13,000, a Fujifilm X100F, normally $1,300, a Canon EOS R, normally $2,000, and a Sony A9, normally $5,500, and the list goes on and on, all for $94.98. And the most remarkable part here is that Amazon is actually honoring these orders, and some Slick Deals users are receiving $11,000 in gear for around $900. I mean, I already have a couple of nice cameras, but I have to admit, I could use an upgrade, and this one hurts just a little bit. No, that, it hurts a lot. If you're on Twitter for more than half a second, you've probably heard of FaceApp, which is an app designed to show you what you'll look like when you're old AF. You can then share the photo and hilarity ensues. OMG, you're so old. You're like 30. Anyway, around the same time that this app went viral, again, so too did privacy concerns because this app's R&D department is based in Mother Russia. So naturally, they must be stealing all of your elections, right? Well, FaceApp says no. It's a long statement, but the TLDR version is FaceApp only takes the photo you want altered and alters it in the cloud, not on the device. Most photos are deleted after 48 hours for performance reasons. Most. And some of you may be wondering why I'm not reading this in Russian accent, and that's because my Russian accent completely sucks, except when I say, I don't care about a Russian woman. And I have no idea why. And finally, you may have heard about the plan on Facebook to invade Area 51. Well, it's a joke, folks, but many people have started to take it seriously because, well, I'll let Tommy Lee Jones explain it again.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
So anyway, this post has grown into a viral feeding frenzy, but Jalopnik is here to help. In a post titled, "Here's what you'll face when you try to invade Area 51, Jalopnik lays it all out, and it's delightfully snarky. This includes the meeting point, an Area 51-themed brothel, and no, I'm not making that up, the inevitable encounter with the, quote, camo dudes, the private security that catches people before they get within sniffing distance of ET, and the plan of attack, which is just... it's just something you need to see. So hit up the link in the show notes, and you're welcome. So that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.